June the 28th, 2024, a 5-year-old girl is walking through the San Francisco Botanical Garden with her summer camp group. The time is close to 11:30 in the morning. Green space, nice and quiet, families everywhere. A coyote comes out of the tree line and bites the child. On a 5-year-old in a public garden at midday with adults standing all around, one animal, one morning, one park. San Francisco has more of them. And what's coming on this list makes the coyote look like a house cat with an attitude problem. So here we go. Number 6, the Broadnose Sevengill shark. You're out on San Francisco Bay in a kayak and the water sits flat and gray and green. A harbor seal surfaces about 20 yards off your bow, looks at you with those dark, wet eyes and slips back under. Everything reads calm. Below you, in maybe 12 foot of water, something longer than your boat is hunting in a pack. The broad-nosed Sevengill shark reaches 8 foot long. Most people have never heard of it, and that anomaly is part of the danger. San Francisco Bay is one of the few known nursery grounds for the species anywhere on the planet. These sharks aren't passing through. They live and breed and hunt right here. They don't do it alone. Sevengills rank among the only shark species documented hunting cooperatively, coordinating to bring down marine animals. The global shark attack file lists 18 instances involving broad-nosed Sevengill shark worldwide. Within San Francisco Bay, Sevengills have been tied to roughly a dozen attacks on dogs along the shoreline. There's also an account from 1881, back when Billy the Kid was around. It was published in the Santa Cruz Weekly Centennial on August the 27th of that year, describing a Sevengill measuring 8 feet 5 inches that chased a little boy wading in shallow water over at Alameda. The shark ran itself aground on the sand trying to reach the kid, and the locals killed it with an axe. Well, what do you think he was axing for? An 8-foot shark beached itself going after a kid in ankle-deep water? That's like your truck jumping the curb because it wanted something on the sidewalk. A Sevengill lives where people swim and paddle. The next one, it doesn't ever need water. Number 5, the Northern Pacific Rattlesnake. You knew it. You're hiking through the regional park in the East Bay on an April afternoon. The trail runs dry and warm. The grass on either side's gone gold. You step over a fallen branch and your foot lands 8 inches from a coiled northern Pacific rattlesnake. It's been laying in the sun at the trail's edge, invisible against ground it matches exactly. Rattlesnakes are the only venomous snake in San Francisco Bay Area. Their active stretch runs April through October, months they spend on the same trails that people use, in dry, rocky spots with brush cover. Anthony Chatbot, Tilden, and Diablo foothills all see them regularly. Here's the shape of 2026. By mid-year, California Poison Control Center had already logged 77 rattlesnake-related emergency calls, and 3 people had died from them. A full year of California typically brings a single rattlesnake death. Dr. Raz Voha with the California Prison Control System, or Poison Control System, not prison, said the bites start showing up months early, in January and February and March instead of April, ahead of the normal season. Across the country, about 8,000 people are bitten by rattlesnakes every year, and 5 to 15 of those bites turned fatal. A rattlesnake would rather they would rather you keep walking, but the moment you don't see it and your foot comes down close to one, it strikes faster than you can pull your leg back. And that's the difference between a dog behind the fence and a dog you just stepped on in the dark. The same animal on a completely different day. The rattlesnake can put you in the hospital or in the ground. What comes next is bigger, louder, and don't give any warning of a rattle. Number 4 is the wild boar. You're on a trail in Santa Cruz Mountains in the early evening. The dirt's torn up on both sides of the path, deep gouges where something has been rooting. The ground worked over like somebody ran a rototiller through it. Heavy rustling in the brush to your left, close, and then a low grunt. Wild boars in the Bay Area can hit 200 pounds. They carry razor-sharp tusks, and they're aggressive, man. They hold their territory. They stand their ground. Last year, federal pigs stalked and charged hikers on local trails. The animals followed people and then came at them. The problem traces to the 1920s when a Canadian millionaire named George Gordon Moore bought a ranch in Carmel Valley and turned it into a playground for the wealthy. He imported these European wild boars for hunting and released them on the property. Those boars bred with domestic pigs and, well, they've gone wild. The offspring spread across the region. Michael Marlowe, the National Federal Swine Damage Management Program, called the result a super invader. California now holds an estimated 400,000 wild pigs across the state. Governor Newsom signed a bill written specifically to address the problem. In the 2024 to 2025 hunting season, 80 wild pigs were harvested in Santa Carla County. Statewide, the number cleared about 2,200, and the population keeps climbing because you had 400,000 of them. You only killed 2,200. What's up? 3 wet winters in a row produced more food than usual, and the pigs answered the way pigs do. Estimates put the damage feral pigs cause across the United States between $1.5 billion and $2.5 billion a year. That's like every household in San Francisco writing a $1,000 check to cover what the pigs broke. A 200-pound animal with tusks that charges people on trails is a serious problem. The next animal shares those same trails without needing tusk. So you're watching the countdown where the animals get more dangerous as the numbers get smaller, and the back half of this list carries real weight. If you're not subscribed yet, now's the time, because what's still coming is worse than anything so far. So number 3, the coyote. You're walking your dog at Crissy Field in the early morning. Fog sits low over the water, and the trees stand as dark shapes behind you. Your dog's on a leash, sniffing the grass at the path's edge. 30 yards ahead, a coyote sits in the open, watching, holding its ground the way your neighbor's dog holds the porch, except this one's deciding something. Coyotes are native to San Francisco. They've repopulated the city over recent decades and serve an ecological role by keeping the rodent population down. Got to keep the ecology right? They're smart and adaptable, and most of the time they want nothing to do with you. On October the 6th, 2024, wildlife officials lethally removed a coyote from Crissy Field. A single animal had been on the run of attacks over several weeks, killing at least 3 dogs in about 10 days. Before that, in June of 2024, a coyote bit a 5-year-old girl at San Francisco Botanical Garden during summer camp. Deb Campbell, a spokesperson for the San Francisco Animal Care and Control, she confirmed that this kind of unprovoked attack on children had become a troubling new pattern. Research published last year documented coyotes along the California coast starting to hunt harbor seal pups. Animals built to eat rabbits and mice have taught themselves to take marine mammals. Most people say you see a coyote and read it as a skinny dog that got loose, right? That's like seeing your cousin's old truck in the driveway and assuming it's dead. When it runs fine, and it's faster than yours when it does run, a coyote is 40 pounds of adaptation living in your neighborhood. The next animal could be 5 times that weight, and it walks through one of the most expensive neighborhoods in San Francisco. Earlier this year it did. Number 2, though, we ain't there to the other one. Number 2 is the great white shark. You know, it ain't walking through your neighborhood. You're swimming at the aquatic park, doing your Saturday morning open water loop. The water's cold and dark below your chest. I saw this on TV the other day. Your own feet are out of sight. A sea lion surfaces nearby and you think nothing of it. Although you ought to, because somewhere between you and the Golden Gate, a great white shark's moving through the same water column. David McGuire, the founder of Shark Stewards and a research associate at the California Academy of Sciences, has said white sharks in front of San Francisco Bay show up more often than people realize. A multi-year tagging study by Stanford researchers recorded tagged great whites entering the bay through the Golden Gate. with detections near the city waterfront and near Alcatraz before the animals turned back towards the ocean. There's a documented predation event in Alcatraz. Tourists waiting on the ferry at the island docks watched a large pool of blood spread across the surface around noon on a Saturday. As 8 to 10 foot great white consumed a seal carcass within feet of the dock, not the duck. McGuire called it the first recorded predation event by a white shark he knew of inside San Francisco Bay. On another occasion, the fishermen reported seeing a great white nearly 20 foot long in the bay. Now, you talk about a fishing story, man. The more he says it, the longer it gets. Well, he said the shark matched the size of his boat. He only had a 10-foot boat, though. During the months people call Sharktober, September through December, that goes with October, great whites move along in the Pacific coast in higher numbers, hunting the same seals and sea lions that haul out on the same rocks where kayakers paddle and swimmers train. You wouldn't get in a swimming pool if someone told you a 20-foot predator was sitting at the bottom, would you? People swim in San Francisco Bay every weekend without a second thought. And a 20-foot great white has been seen there from a boat this same length. That's like pulling into a parking space and finding out the car next to you ain't a car. A great white in the bay is as dangerous as salt water gets. That number one animal doesn't live in the water at all. It does drink some, though. It lives in the hills above the city. You know what I'm talking about. In January of this year, it walked right through the middle of town. Number one's the mountain lion. You're taking the trash out behind your house in Pacific Heights a Monday morning in January. It's still early. The street's quiet, You set the bag down by the cans and something moves at the far end of the block. Lower to the ground, and it's moving. It's fluid. A 77-pound mountain lion is walking through one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in San Francisco. That happened on January 27th of 2026. A young male eluded animal control officers for hours before being tranquilized Tuesday morning. That's how come we know it's 77 pounds. They had to weigh it. The Oakland Zoo examined the cat, confirmed it was healthy, and they released it back into the neighborhood. Into the wild. It depends what neighborhood you live in. That could be the wild. It wasn't the first time, though. In 2021, a mountain lion turned up in Bernal Heights. In 2020, a young one was found sleeping in a planter box on a normally busy downtown San Francisco street. And at one point, it stood and stared at its own reflection in the glass of an office tower. Hey, look at that, mirrors. That same animal suspected of killing 3 marsupials at the San Francisco Zoo earlier that week. 2 Waterloos and a red kangaroo. That's kind of exotic eating, right? Mountain lions are native to San Francisco Bay Area. Adult males can exceed 8 foot from nose to tail and weigh about 130 to 150 pounds. They live in parks and open spaces around the city, across forests and canyons and hillsides, most active at dawn and dusk. In California, mountain lions have killed 6 people over the last 136 years. The most recent, a young man in El Dorado County in 2024. A mountain lion is built to kill things bigger and faster than you. It's an ambush predator that covers 40 feet in a single bound, dropping onto the back of its prey from above or behind. You get no sight, no sound before it hits you. It ain't got no tail to rattle, but it's got a tail. Ranchers in the Bay Area have sent state wildlife official photographs of cattle torn apart on the property. One rancher wrote that mountain lions have been caught on home security cameras eating house cats off the porches, dragging dogs away in broad daylight with the owner standing right there, and attacking children. The cat that walked through Pacific Heights in January weighed 77 pounds. That's a young one. A full-grown one runs almost twice that, as I told you before. This animal's healthy. It knew it was going, and it moved through a neighborhood where the average home costs more than most people will earn in a lifetime. That's like finding out the most expensive alarm system in the country has no setting for the thing that actually is in the yard. People jog the trails above San Francisco at dawn. Dogs walked on the Presidio fire roads as the sun goes down. Those are the hours, and that's the place. And the animal that owns the top of the food chain in this city is watching from the brush line, the way it's watched for thousands of years. If you like this video, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next episode.